Hey everybody, welcome to Dead Spot Podcast. Here today, we talking hoops. I wanted to get into a few topics I've been discussing with people and discussing on Twitter and just discussing in general overall with different friends and different people I talk hoop with. But the first topic would be the Boston Celtics and my take that they should trade, that they should be trying to trade either Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown, which obviously is Jaylen Brown. We're not trying to get rid of Tatum. That wouldn't even make sense. But the reason being, and let me start by saying, that's not me saying I don't like Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum. I love both of their games. I'm a big fan of them being two-way players. I've been a fan of Jaylen Brown since he was at Cal. I know Jason Tatum went to Duke, but he was supposed to come to North Carolina, but we was in trouble during that time, so he went to Duke. I get it, so I'm still a fan. But the thing is, Jason Tatum in year 5, Jaylen Brown in year 6. So it's not like they've had early success, but these last 2 years they've been hovering at a play-in type thing. Like they haven't been taking that next step. And there's nothing wrong with young players not taking that step, but when you look at the way the organization is built out, they don't really have the room to take the next step. They don't really have enough room to improve the team the way you need to when you have two young stars. So when you look at it, I mean, if you look at their team, right now, they would have enough money to create one max spot this summer if they get rid of, and I have it on the screen of all of the different things that they got to have happen. But you got Al Horford, he has a $26.5 million contract next year. Half of that is fully guaranteed. They got to find somebody to take that contract. You got to get off Marcus Smart. You got to get off Dennis Schroeder. You got to get off all of these players. And then after everything on this list is done, they'll be left with this summer Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Robert Woods, Aaron Nesmith, Peyton Pritchard. If they get down to just those 5 players and get rid of everybody else's contract, they will have that would be $75 million on the cap. The next year cap is 119, so they would have created $44 million. Now, if you look around the league, players like Bradley Beal is a name that they've been throwing out. His cap number, if he was to stay, is like 48, 49 million. But if he leave, it'll probably be closer to that 42 to $44 million number. So most of the money that you do have would be going to getting Bradley Beal. So I then ask you, is a team with Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Robert Williams, and Bradley Beal, and then Aaron and Peyton, a team? They now so that's the team. That's the 6 of them, and they have no more money. So with them not having no more money, they gonna have to go get vet minimum guys, get a couple extra little just throw in. Is that enough to get over the top? Is that enough to beat the Nets? In my opinion, no. Is that enough to beat the Bucks? No. And the thing is, moving forward between Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Robert Williams, and Bradley Beal, you will have $112 million committed. And Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown number is go up, and so is Bradley Beal. So as the cap go up, they are literally taking up over 90% of the cap number. If the cap is 119 and they taking up 112, you have $7 million left to build out the rest of your team. You got 6 players, you need 6 more at least. You only got $7 million to do it. And the thing is, these top vets that's like, oh, he'd be a good piece to add. Oh, he'd be a good. Why would they pick to come to Boston? A lot of them older vets are trying to win. So if I could pick between Jason Tatum, Bradley Beal, and Jaylen Brown, or Kevin Durant, James Harden, Kyrie, which one I'm picking? Or if I could go play with Giannis, or I could go play with the Warriors, or if the Suns keep getting better, like it's different teams that's competing for championships that are ahead of them. So that's a hard thing to sell. Now with me, the way I'm looking at it is, if you could get Jaylen Brown off right now, get him for a good little package, something that's like, something that's like a solid 3-4 people. Now, obviously, Cam Reddish, that was a horrible trade for them to get him off to the Knicks. The Knicks now have a pretty good trade package for players with RJ and Cam and some picks and all of that. They got room to work, but I think Atlanta still might have a good package with John Collins. When you look at Herter, when you look at Hunter, when you look at some picks that they could give up, I think that they have a good enough thing to make that move. So you get those pieces, and then you still try to go get Bradley Beal in the offseason. Now you got Jason Tatum and Bradley Beal who play 2 different positions, so it should be a more seamless fit with Robert Williams, and you got pieces around. Now, don't get me wrong, that's still not a team that's probably would be favored to win it all next year, but at least we're actually building out a team. At least we have a direction, in my opinion. Now, like I said, I know everybody disagrees. Like this is one of those topics that I'm not really getting a lot of support in, and that's fine. But this is just the way I'm looking at it. A big three of Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Bradley Beal is not good enough when you don't have a good supporting cast to get you over the top. Them three would need a good bench. They would need a good point guard. When the thing is, everybody talking about, oh, they just need a good point guard. They just got to get a good vet point guard like Chris Paul, like da da da. Bro, them players is not out there like that. You're not just going to get no vet point guard that's going to turn your team around. Do you know how high that is? Chris Paul making $40 million. We just paid Miami Heat. We just paid a point guard who is 35 years old, $35 million a year because it's that hard to come by vet point guards. So everybody just saying, oh, Boston going to get a PG. Oh, they going to do this. Where they going to get them at and how they going to make it work. That's going to actually make a difference. Now you got players like Dragic. He's still unhappy with his situation. If you can find a way to make something like that shake, maybe. But how much left do he still got in the tank? We need to see. But I mean, that's one of your probably only options as far as vet PGs that's out there that could really help make a difference. Obviously, you could try to go get a Rondo, but he's more of like add-on piece, not a starting, let me take you over the hump piece. So for me, if you're looking at the way that the salary cap is built, I just don't think it's as a good fit to have them two there. Now, if they had more money and they had role pieces, I wouldn't be saying break them up. But and you also got to look at this. This is the new NBA where players do not have a problem leaving a franchise. So if Jaylen Brown been there 6 years, who's to say in a year or two he might not be looking to leave? He is the second option. It's clear as day. Jason Tatum team, which it should be. But Jaylen Brown is also a star in the making. You know what I'm saying? So when you go to the Olympics and you look up and on the billboard, you got Kevin Durant, Damian Lillard, and Jason Tatum. He's already a centerpiece of the Olympics. They already saying he's the next thing because KD getting older, Dame getting older, Steph getting all of these players is getting older. So Jason Tatum up next, they saying. Jaylen Brown can't even really get on the team like that. You know what I'm saying? Jaylen Brown is 10th right now in fan voting. He don't even really have a fan base because he ain't no, like, people don't look at him like that. When you think of the Boston Celtics, you think of Jason Tatum, you think of Brad Stevens, you think of all of that other stuff, and then you get to Jaylen Brown, which is unless you obviously like a hoop lover, you just all in the hoop, you gonna know about Jaylen Brown. But to the casual fan, someone might not know him. So for a lot of these players who still trying to build their name, why not leave and go somewhere where I could be the guy? Why not go somewhere where I could be the only with the best wing? And maybe not even necessarily the best player, but at least the best player at my position. It's tough to be on the team with a player that's better than you at your own position. They both wings. You know what I'm saying? So, and then I also see people saying like, I talked to a couple of people saying that they can look at what the Bulls is doing, but I feel like the Bulls is in a much different situation. They had money to put pieces around them, and also one of the stars is DeRozan, who has been kind of getting slept on. Like a lot of people looked at DeRozan and said he was one of the worst signings in the offseason. If you look up in reports from free agency this past year, they were saying that he was one of the worst trades, worst free agency pickups. The Lakers were trying to get him. They were saying the Lakers shouldn't do it. Oh, this team shouldn't get him. He over the hill. So he more of in a like prove myself. Like I'm still that guy. He already been given the credit of being one of the better players in the league. He just trying to show he's still that. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown still trying to work their way up the list. They still trying to get into their full peak. So it's hard to say keep them together. And then also, if you're talking about bringing in Bradley Beal this offseason, so now you got Jason Tatum, Bradley Beal. Now he not only he's the third option. So I don't know how long Jaylen Brown will be happy being the third option when every year his point total went up, up, up. Every year he got better defensively. Every year he became a better rebounder and all the things like that. I just don't see it happening. So it's like, why just lose Jaylen Brown and get nothing in return when you could get him, when you get off a good package? Because Jaylen Brown would be one of the hottest commodities out there right now. And yeah, it still might take you some time to build it out, but at least we build it with a sense of direction. Right now, it's just we got two young wings and we just gonna see what happens. The cap don't work like that. And they're not getting rid of Robert Williams. They already said it. So his money, he's making $11-12 million. They got to work out a new contract with him. Who knows how much he get when the new contract comes. I'm sure he can't get too much more than what he getting based off of. They looking at the numbers just like I'm looking at the numbers. They need to at least keep that 44 for a vet player. I mean, a max player. But For me, Jaylen Brown had to go. It wouldn't be nothing personal. I wish we had built out our team better. If I was a Boston Celtics to where we could keep both, but just basically looking at the numbers, we would be heading for doom because we would have 112 million committed to 4 players, and those 4 players are not good enough to get us over the hump. I could see when it was Miami and it's like, oh, we're gonna give all the money to D Wade, Bron, and Bosh, and then we just figured out. Well, Bron was one of the 2 best players in the league, and D Wade was probably the 3rd best player when they came together. It was Kobe, Bron, Wade. So you had 2 of the top 3 players. When KD went to the Steph and them, it was Bron, KD, Steph. So you had 2 of the top 3 players at the time. You were gonna win rings. It was a guarantee. How many rings you won, that wasn't a guarantee, but the fact that those 2 parents coming together was automatic win. So if it was something like that, make it shake, we'll get some vets. But with these guys, I cannot guarantee that they win a ring. And to just have it like that and Jaylen Brown leave, you're gonna be feeling crazy when you could have got a hell of a package for a young budding star. But that's that on that. Let's keep it rolling. Let's get into Ben Simmons. Obviously, Ben Simmons been a hot topic. I've been talking about Ben Simmons on here. I talked about him with my boy Red. We've just been discussing. I discussed him with my boy Mill. But as far as they just put out a trade, Detroit, right? So this is a hot topic on social media. A lot of people thought that they should have accepted this trade. I seen a lot of the people that I follow that cover hoop or talk about hoop a lot was saying that was a pretty good trade. Now, to me, like I said, sometimes I be on the opposite end of a lot of these people takes, and I know people don't really always agree with me, but that's fine. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm here to just discuss my opinion and discuss yours, and let's go with it. But as far as the Detroit trade, I look at it, it was Jeremy Grant, Sadiq Bey, Kelly Olynyk, and a first-round pick. Now, what I do need to know is I didn't look. It was that first-round pick from this year, or is that a later first-round pick? Because if it's a first-round pick from this year, then that is a good asset because the Detroit Pistons are really bad. I think they got the worst record in the league, so that could be a top 3 or 4 pick. That's very valuable if that's from this year. But as far as the players go, Jeremy Grant. And I'm a big Jeremy Grant fan. Like, I got a bunch of tweets talking good about Jeremy Grant over the years when he was with Denver, but I don't think that I like him in this role as a 1 or 2 option. Like, now his role with Denver, where he was coming off the bench as a 6th man, if somebody get hurt, he was a good starter fill-in. That's more of his role. Like, and that's okay. Everybody's not a star. I just need to emphasize that everybody is not a star, but on every team, I think if every team in the league, there's somebody averaging at least 20 points. So somebody's got to score. And he's on Detroit where there's not a lot of good players. Sadiq Bey is young, so he's not really taking that step. Cade is in his rookie year trying to figure it out. So he's just coming. I don't know. I know a lot of y'all probably don't watch Detroit Pistons game, but I love Cade Cunningham. I'm a fan of his. I really love what he brings to the table. So I watch their games. I tune in. And you just see Jeremy Grant. He just come down, dribble, pulling up from 3, dribble, pull up, dribble, sidestep. Like, he takes a lot of bad shots, and he's high volume because we the Detroit Pistons ain't nobody gonna win. I mean, we're not winning no games. We got the worst record in the league. Who cares if he's taking bad shots? So he's out there just getting his numbers, and that's cool. That's not like a bad thing. But I don't think that when you pair him with Joel Embiid, it really makes for like that much of a difference. Like, especially if you're trying to start him. So it's like, I don't know, on a team on a team that should be competing for championship, I don't see him no better as a possible 3rd, maybe 4th option on the team. So to sit here and say he'd be the 6th or 2nd best player, I just don't think that really helped. Sadiq Bey, we don't really know. And Kelly Olynyk is a real good role player. Like, he was with the Heat. He was with Boston. He's a good player. He can stretch the floor, hit threes, grab a rebound, and he gritty as hell. He gonna battle. He gonna get on the floor. He gonna fight. He gonna do whatever you need him to do. So he's not a bad piece, but it's not like none of these pieces are helping you get over the hump. So my thing is, if we not getting over the hump, because everybody keeps saying, "Oh, we wasting Joel Embiid. Oh, they wasting Joel Embiid season." Well, the season is wasted regardless, because if anybody watching this, if you believe this, let me know. But in your opinion, does Jeremy Grant, Sadiq Bey, and Kelly Olynyk make them title contenders? Does it make them better than the Nets, even with Kyrie only playing half the time? I don't think so. The Bucks, no. The Heat, no. I just don't think that they're better than those 3 teams, regardless. So even with that being said, why not hold out on Ben Simmons? Hey, this is a wash year. What I would be doing is open communication. I would be talking to my big man. hey, listen, fella, you having a great year, but this Ben Simmons shit just not working out, and we haven't got anything that's going to help you win right now. So let's wait to the off season. Let's see what we could get in the offseason. Philly main priority should be trying to see what's going on with James Harden. They should be trying to see what's going on with his contract. Is he happy? Is he tired of all the stuff going on over there? And see if they could get him. I'm sure James Harden would love to play with a dude like Embiid. Embiid last night just went for 50 and 12 and 27 minutes. I'm sure Harden would love that, and he'd be back with Del Morey. So if he trying to force his way out, a package of Ben and some young players, or maybe even Tobias or whatever, could get the deal done. That's what I would be waiting on. I would be waiting to see if they go win the championship. If they don't, Harden, what's up? Then if Harden, if he ended up re-signing, it's a reason KD re-signed the extension, Kyrie re-signed the extension, and Harden didn't. So I'd be keeping my eye out on Harden. My second priority would be to see what's going on with Dame. If Dame is still talking, he happy and he signed his extension, great. When we moving right down the line to seeing what's going on, we keep an eye out on the Jaylen Brown, Bradley Beal situation. If none of those four players are available and we can't get any of them, then we can start looking at these trades from these other teams like Detroit and whoever else, OKC, and whoever else trying to make offers. Because the thing about those type of teams, they're so bad. Those trades aren't going anywhere. As bad as they need Ben Simmons today, they feel they're going to feel the same way in 4 months because they're ass. They have no pieces. They have, other than Kate Cunningham, if you're talking about getting rid of Sadiq Bey, like they don't really have any pieces to build on. So it would be, hell yeah, we'll take Ben Simmons. At least we'll have something to sell our fans on. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't be too rushed to make a trade for a team that's not going to help us. And if you look at Jeremy Grant's contract, he's a free agent this summer, and he's saying he want to be a centerpiece in what they do, and he want to make 112 million. So you gonna commit 100, almost 30 million a year to Jeremy Grant? I just don't think that's good money. And I'm a Jeremy Grant fan, like I said, but I just don't think that's good money. And I don't think him and Joel Embiid fit that well to where it's like, oh, we're gonna get that off, and we just get them. We just gonna get Ben off to get Ben off. Everybody got to stay patient, got to stay calm. Like, who can? Okay, they gave up this year. The Ben Simmons shit didn't work out. He said he was gonna come back once he got his mental health. Obviously, that was a lie, and that he's not coming back. So if he's not coming back, it is what it is, man. This is just 1 year gone, and then next year we'll see what we can do. But Joel Embiid, man, the only thing I can tell you is keep balling, keep making these players look at you and say, "This is somebody I would want to play with." Because if James Harden looking at it and saying, "Would I rather keep dealing with the stuff going on with Kyrie and KD getting hurt, and we not really clicking the way I thought," or would I rather go play with this young dude that's one of the most talented big men we've ever seen in the history of basketball, with my GM that I know will do whatever it takes to make me happy. Del Morey, if he didn't prove nothing else in Houston, he proved he would make any move Harden wanted him to make to keep him happy. Why would he not want to get back to that? So I'm just saying, and everybody, oh, he holding Ben Simmons hostage. They're paying Ben Simmons $35 million this year. He will be okay. If he don't want to come to work, that's on him. But at the end of the day, y'all make this way more complicated than it has to be. This is his job. He got to go to work. If you don't like your boss, hey, shit happens. Either you go to work or you sit out until they decide to trade you. But you don't have enough clout as a player to be making decisions on what you want to do. You're not James Harden. You know what I'm saying? You're not Anthony Davis. You're not these players that could say, move me now. You don't have that type of pull. So all of the cards is in Philly hand. And I'm definitely not trading a player that I got for 4 more years for a guy that I don't even know if he gonna sign with us or not. For some young guys that I don't really know in the role player. That's not really worth it. We got Ben Simmons for 4 more years if I'm Philly. That's how I'm thinking. So they hold all the cards. They have all of the power, and that's just the way business works. Whoever holds the power get to make the move. And right now, him as a player is not like, oh, I'm leaving next year. I'm gonna be a free agent. If y'all don't trade me, y'all gonna lose me for nothing. You gonna be sitting on the shelf for 4 years, bucko, if you want to be. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think they're Morey handling it wrong. Now, if it's a trade out there that pop up, that's a good offer, and that he turned down, then I'd be like, oh, come on, man. But to this point, I don't think that Detroit was enough for me to jump at. Atlanta had made a good offer, they said, but then they tried to throw into bias. So that was Atlanta getting over it. I mean, the trade they had was a trade I was kind of envisioning. So it's like if that would have worked out, but to them to add for Tobias and all of that, I feel like Atlanta was trying to get over. But until I see something Philly, it's just like, oh my God, like that's the move. I'm waiting on Harden. I got to. Based off my prior relationship, based off of everything, why not? These other trades ain't going nowhere. I promise you they're not. Okay, last player we talking about moving around and stuff. It's been a lot of reports saying Donovan Mitchell is unhappy in Utah. He's looking for a bigger market. Hey, look, if Donovan Mitchell is looking for a bigger market, I truly believe that that's the best move for him because, bro, when we talk about Luka, Tatum, Trae Young, Ja Morant, all of these other good players, we do not mention Donovan Mitchell, and he's just as good, if not better, than a lot of them guys. Like, and he's just as accomplished as most of them. He done had some of the biggest games in the playoffs out of all of them. He done won series. He done took on high-level star players in the playoffs, and he's held his own every single time. So if you look at somebody like him, I pray, Miami, let's get this done. We missed out on Harden. Let's not miss out on Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell is even more of a fit culture-wise than a Harden would be for the Heat. If we could give him Hero, we could. I would hate to do it, but if we got to give up Duncan Robertson, if we got to, you know what I'm saying, we got some young pieces that's now kind of coming along that are a young big man. He a really good rebounder. When we can make some pieces happen that Utah might be interested in, give him a pick or two. So like that is something that we need to make happen. If he come to Miami, and I know the Utah got D Wade on the ownership staff, so it's like, damn, I got the legend right here, or am I could go try to be 2.0? Man, going on to Miami, but D Wade a real one. He not finna be holding that against you. If you need help, he gonna still give you help, and you with his other franchise. So go there and get your name up, or go to New York, get under New York. But New York would love Donovan Mitchell, big shot hitter, not scared of the moment, take on anybody, and see who you could go get because New York gonna have money always. They got the cool little pieces. They should be able to get another star. So I would be looking at Miami to go along with Jimmy and Bam. Jimmy, Bam, and Donovan Mitchell, along with some more pieces added in the way Miami do it. I think that could be solid. Put him on the Knicks and get him a wing player, we could be cooking. But if you want to make your name, and the thing is about a lot of these players is it's not just about hoop no more. And we got to stop acting like it is. It's not. It's about the brand. It's about building your life after hoop. These people are looking at players like you got Michael Jordan, who's a billionaire, Magic Johnson, who got a whole bunch of money. And now you're looking at players like LeBron James, who just had earnings up to $1 billion. So he didn't earn up to $1 billion in his career. They're looking at that and saying, I want to get my off the court brand. Donovan Mitchell, one of his favorite players, Dwayne Wade, who is doing hella shit off the court. So they're bigger into what's after this. They are much more conscious of this is a 12 to 15-year career as the past generation was. They're looking at the money. So get to Miami, get to New York, get to a team where they are going to put you on the map and they're going to put you in a place to succeed. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it don't have to be a super team. If he go join the Heat, we would be a really good team. But it's not like it'd be like, oh, he went and joined the bandwagon and joined the super team. Like, no, it's just a solid good team with good pieces, and definitely wouldn't be a super team if he went to the Knicks. So he could beat them allegations of, oh, he was just trying to team up to join a super team, and he could still get his name up there. He could still be put in where he needs to be put, because Donovan Mitchell is one of the 3 or 4 best shooting guards in the league. I mean, obviously you got. I mean, I don't know if you even count Harden. I don't know what we count Harden as right now. If he the PG, then cool. You got D-Book, you got Levine. But I feel like Donovan Mitchell is right in there with Donovan Mitchell and right in there with Levine. Like, he's that good, and he just don't get the credit he needed. You know what I'm saying? Utah is just not a team that's exciting. Brian came out and said that y'all was a team that nobody wanted to watch, and he was not lying, and nobody said nothing bad about that because it was true. So hopefully you get away. Hopefully you get to Miami. Pat Riley, we've been had funk for a minute, but if you could get Donovan Mitchell, I might start coming back around. We'll see how it go. But we're going right along into, all right, now it's not about players leaving. It's about players coming back. We got Klay Thompson. We got Kyrie Irving. They both made their returns recently. I think Klay Thompson played 5 games since he's been back. Or maybe no, 6 now, but he's averaging a good 15 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and he's playing 21 minutes. Now, for me personally, I wasn't worried about how many points he was going to be scoring when he got back. I wasn't worried about like how he was going to be shooting coming back. To me, he's the top 3 shooter all time. Steph, Ray Allen, and him. the shot's gonna come back. All of that's gonna be fine. I was just looking to see how the conditioning was gonna be, how they were gonna be, how was they gonna use him? Was they gonna just throw him back into the fire, or was they gonna ease him back in? I think they really having a good approach, but like they starting him, so he getting back used to being in the mix with the starters that he gonna be playing with all throughout the season. Playing 21 minutes, that's solid. That's about half the game. And he giving you 15 points. That's a lot more than I was expecting for him to be doing fresh off the injury. You know, he came back first game, rolls on somebody. He wasn't even really dunking on people like that before he left. So for him to come back and show that, him to kind of show he getting his touch back a little bit. You know, some games here, some games it's not. That's what to be expected these first month or two. But the conditioning looking good. Like he looked like Klay. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, obviously his defense ain't as crisp as it was, but that's what we was expecting. Or that's what, if he wasn't, that's what you should have been expecting of him when he came back. But everything about that is saying it's a good sign. Plus, the Warriors starting off so well that made it a little bit easier because now he could ease back in. I think they said he's not playing no back-to-backs all season. That's great. The Warriors are a top 2 seed, and I don't think they not really in no danger of falling under 4 in the next month or two. So he got a lot of time to work his way in, and for him to be coming back as early. Playoffs don't start till like April. We still in January. I was thinking he wasn't coming back to after the All-Star break. So I'm like, man, All-Star break in February. He come back mid to late February. He only got March. But now he got January, February, March, some April games. So I feel like by the time playoffs come, he'll be ready to go. I definitely feel good about what I'm seeing from him. I'm happy to have him back. The whole NBA should be happy to have Klay Thompson back, man. If I don't care if you're a Warrior fan, I don't care if you hate the Warriors for the KD shit, whatever. Klay ain't did nothing, and every hoop fan should love Klay Thompson, bro. He a cool dude. He get buckets. He play defense, and he ride his boat with his dog. He don't really do too much. He not trying to be in the media hella much. He just a good dude, bro. So I'm rooting for him to come back, bro. Whether I'm rooting for the Warriors or not, we'll see. But I'm rooting for Klay to continue to do what he's doing. I'm good to see him back out there. Then you also have Kyrie, who isn't returning from an injury, so his isn't as bad. Like he's averaging 20 points right now, 5.5 rebounds, 5 assists in 33.5 minutes. So that's cool. The team 2-2 since he got back. But I mean, obviously they're dealing with a lot of different stuff. Oh, speaking of dealing with a lot of different stuff, Klay Thompson also with the game he came back was the game Draymond got hurt. So we haven't even seen Steph, Klay, and Dre back on the court together. So I'm interested to see what that looked like. I know Draymond dying to get back out there with them, but I think once that opened up, they could be really scary come playoff time. But back to Kyrie, he's averaging 25.5 rebounds, 5 assists in 33.5 minutes. Like I said, he's not coming off an injury, so it wasn't like I was expecting him to be on like no huge minute count. I was really see like, did he stay in shape? And it looked like he stayed in pretty good shape, being able to play this many minutes. Same thing with Klay though. I mean, the shot a little hit or miss, and that's perfectly fine. Like, I mean, like, he's not like he's not a great shooter as Klay, but I mean, he did shoot 50, 40, 90 last year. So he's a really good shooter. He's gonna find his touch. It's not really too much to worry about. The only thing with them is they're trying to find their overall rhythm as a team in general because they've only been together they second year together, and last year they only played like 15, 20 games with the big three. So they still are figuring out that initial process, and now KD hurt. So now it's like now they got Kyrie back for half the games, and now KD gone for 6 weeks. So it's like there's never really been a time for them to click as a team. So a lot of their problem is just based off of trying to figure it out, not really Kyrie being out or anything like that. Like he's not gonna really have too many like downs. It's just that where do I stay? Where do I go? Where do I get my shot off? How do we play it fully together? It's still something they figuring out. So they should be all right. But both of those teams, the Nets and the Warriors, are the biggest threats to my NBA championship prediction, which I still stand strong on my prediction. I think the Suns and the Bucks will make it to the championship. But I mean, the Warriors with Klay back, with all they got their role players, they are a really good team. I do think it's a collision course for them, the Suns and the Warriors to meet in the conference finals. But hey, I think the Suns get it, man. I think the Suns are a year better. They have their point guard. The book know his role. They got a lot of 3-and-D guys. They got a lot of shooters. They got a big man that's solid. They got a backup big man now. They have if you was to do a checklist of what's today's game and what's the best way to play in today's NBA, it's the Suns. They check every single box. They don't miss one box. They do what they need to be doing. So I think that they could get them. I think it's gonna be a close series, 6-7 games, but I think they get them. And then as far as the Nets go, as long as Kyrie Irving not playing all the games, KD gonna be coming off the injury. I do feel the Bucks will be able to get them. The thing about it is, what I thought about yesterday was, well, if they can find a way, they're third right now, and I think the Bucks are fourth. If they can find a way to get below the Bucks at least, if they can find a way to win some game, you get it to a game 7 in Milwaukee with Kyrie Irving. Now you telling me you got your big three versus their big three with a 1-game sample size. The Nets might can pull that off, but they would have to be able to win 3 games with Kyrie Irving only playing 3 of the first 6. Tough task, but they're good enough to do it. So we'd have to see how they can get it done. But as of right now, at the midpoint of the season, I'm sticking with my Suns. Bucks prediction to the championship. Keep it rolling. Let's keep it rolling. Let's talk about a young stud going crazy right now. We got Ja Morant. Man, listen, Ja Morant is special. Ja Morant, bro, like the quickness, the agility, what he's able to do with the ball, the in and out, the jumping ability is crazy. Ja is special. He a mix of not. I don't think it's one player that you can say he's a mix of. It's kind of a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I think he's special. Handling his shot, getting a lot better this year. He finishing better at the rim. That was my biggest knock on him, was that he wasn't a great finisher around the rim. But with all of that being said, I think he finally put it together. I think he should be in the MVP discussion. I think he should be. Right now, if it had to come out, I think he would be first team All NBA from the guard position, him and Curry. I just feel like he having a great year. But I hate to be the buzzkill, but we gotta stop doing this with these players. As soon as a player start killing, oh, is he top 5? Oh, maybe he top. Oh, okay. Well, is he one of the best players in the league? Oh, well, maybe we should start igniting. Like, bruh, slow down. He's not a top 5 player. He's not a top 5 point guard. He's not better than Stephen Curry. He's not better than Kyrie Irving. He's not better than Damian Lillard. He's not better than Trae Young, and he's not better than Luka Doncic. That's just what it is. Now, if you want to say he's having a better season than all of them, that's fine. But bro, you cannot give him Steph, obviously. Kyrie Irving dealing with what he's dealing with, but when he's on the court, he's one of the best 5 players. Damian Lillard, this is one of his first kind of like down years he didn't really almost ever had. And now he hurt. So it's like, with all he's accomplished and with all he's done for the sport, I think he could get a grace period of a 1-year off kind of season. Trae Young, he's having a better year than Trae Young right now. But as far as what Trae Young accomplished, he just went to the Eastern Conference Finals last year. So I'm not ready to say a player that's like coming on the scene right now is better than him that didn't already prove that. And Luka, we already know what it is. 2-time All-NBA first team. Now, he ain't won a playoff series yet, but he done played the Clippers, one of the teams that have been favored to get to the championship both years if they was healthy. He need to put on shows. He's not better than them. Is he right there? Is he coming? If you look up next year and Dame have another down year, and it's like, oh, he just kind of starting to fall off a little bit, then okay, we could talk about it after another year. But I'm not going to give him players that's been doing it for 3 or 4 or 5, 6 years now because he's on right now. That's not how this playing work. And if we continue to do stuff like that, bro, it's gonna be hard to even keep track with sports talk. Because now every time somebody play good, it's like, oh well, never mind. He better than this player. Like, do any like resume gotta matter some. And I know the eye test of what we're doing right now. If you want to say he's a top 5 point guard of this season, like I said, he first team All NBA this season. He's a top 5 MVP candidate. So if he's a top 5 MVP candidate, he's having one of the best 5 seasons. That's great. That doesn't necessarily mean you're one of the best players. I seen Stephen A. Smith on there talking about some, I don't know if I would take Giannis over Ja. Come on, bro. Giannis Antetokounmpo, not the 2-time MVP, the defensive player of the year, the finals MVP, Giannis Antetokounmpo. That's who, come on, bro. And it's like, we got to stop. And another thing I don't like, we keep disrespecting players like Giannis, like Jokic, like Luka, because they're not born an American. We have to stop acting like a non-American player can't be the face of the NBA. Jokes up. Giannis is the face of the league, and Jokic and Luka are right behind him. It just is what it is. Those are 3 of the best young players under the age of 28 years old in the whole league. If you want to add in Joel Embiid, them probably the 4 best players under the age of 28. So there's 3 of them, and even including Embiid, he's not even from America. So if you look at most of the best players are not from here. That's just the way the league is going. I'm so sorry. It's not going to be Jason Tatum. It's not going to be Trae Young right now. It's not going to be Ja. Giannis is the man right now. None of them players are better than him. So we have to stop acting like it's just, and it's like a lot of that is sports media, the propaganda. I already get how that shit go, but it's like, Stephen A. Smith, bro, you used to really talk hoop, bro. Now you is not talking hoop no more, talking about some Ja Morant compared to Giannis. Like they're not even in the same league right now. And that's no disrespect to Ja. Giannis is on an all-time great level right now. He's on track to be the GOAT if he continue to do the things he's doing. Ja not on that level. Ja is on a great level though. He continuing to roll. I can't wait to see what happened when he come as he keep going. But to compare him to Giannis, bro, y'all, that was some sick shit I seen. I was not a fan of that. But if you before we end this, you know what I'm saying? You know how I do my hoop episodes, not too much, just to give you a little something. But I want to talk about some of these young teams. Like obviously we just was talking about Ja, so I got to give his team credit. You know, what Memphis is doing, and what Ja, and that's another reason why they're saying he might be top 5 because what he's doing with this young team. Red, shout out my guy. We'll be on next week with our episode. He caught this. He had the Memphis finishing top 4. I didn't even have him in my top 10. I forgot about Memphis. I ain't gonna lie. When I was looking at it, I couldn't really. For some reason I overlooked him, and I did my 10 before he did his 10. If he would have went first and he would have said Memphis, I probably wouldn't have had him as high. I'm not even gonna try to act like, but I would have definitely had him in that. I probably would have switched him into the play-in somewhere for one of them teams, but I didn't even have him in there, so that's an embarrassment to me. But when you look at Ja, when you look at Jaren Jackson, and then you look at Bane, like Bane has been a player, been really killing 17, 18 points a game. These type of players that ain't getting their credit. But Memphis is a good team. Like they beat almost every team in the league. Almost every good team got an L off of Memphis. They play good defense, and they a team that's young and scrappy. It's different type of young team. It's teams that's young and don't really care about this and that. They one of them teams that don't really care about the status quo or we're not really supposed to be here. They feel like they're supposed to be here. Now, if you listen to the way they talk, if you listen to the way they carry themselves, Memphis is a team that feel like they can compete with anybody. And that's a good thing to do. So I mean, them being in the top 4 or 5 seed is almost a guarantee they're gonna make the playoffs. It's always a guarantee that they're gonna have they're not gonna be in the play-in. So it's like they're gonna get some good experience this playoff. They keep building on it. I know they lost to Utah. Was that last year? Yeah, that was last year. So just keep building your experience, keep building your team out. They got a good solid team. You look at the Cavs. The Cavs got something going, man. You got Darius Garland. I've been loving Darius Garland all year. I've been telling people about him. I've been raving about him now. He's an all-star. He needs to be an all-star. There's no ifs and buts about it. He's been one of the best 4 or 5 guards in the East. I don't care what you say. Under any metric you want to look at, he's been a top 5 guard in the East. And where his team is right now, we got to get him in there. Jared Allen, I don't know if we can get him into the All-Star game because the numbers aren't just, but if you watch the Cleveland Cavaliers play, Jared Allen is super important on both ends of the floor. It was crazy the Nets had to give him up. I mean, obviously they had to get him up to get Harden, but if they would have been able to keep him, oh my God, what he'd be able to do for them right now would be crazy. And then you got Mobley. I mean, young dude, nasty. Like, I didn't think Evan Mobley was as good as he is. Like, I mean, the handle, the jumper, the poke, like, he got it. I still don't think he better than K. I'm not gonna give him that. I would have still taken K second. I mean, took K first, but Mobley might be taking Jalen Green's spot. Mobley might have been the pick at number 2. I don't even care if you got Christian Woods because he's obviously making it work with Jared Allen. And then you also got Lloyd Market, where when they coming out there with 3 7-footers and saying, deal with it. We got 2 guards and 3 7-footers, and this how we rock. That shit nasty. And Lloyd Markin got the jumper, you know what I'm saying, fresh out of Arizona. Mobley got jumper. Garland running the team. Allen protecting the rim. Allen is the top 5 rim protector in the league. That's a scary team, man. And you know what I'm saying? I don't think they're going to make too much noise this year, but if you keep them together and keep building, that's a team to watch out in the future. I truly believe that. And then lastly, we got the Wizards, man. The Wizards, when you look at them, their team is not that good on paper. Their team is not a team that you look at and say, oh, they got this. They got Bradley Beal, who obviously, boy, I forgot to mention him when I was talking about the top shooting guards, Devin Booker, Levine, Bradley Beal, and then Donovan Mitchell. The 4 of them is in there. My bad for leaving them out. But he's special. Like I said, I love the way he approaching this free agency. Hey, man, I'm not signing until you make some moves. And they responding with, they got some good pieces and they doing cool. I think they're in 7th or 8th right now, which don't sound great, but based off of where I had it projected and based off what the season was starting to look like at the beginning, before the season started, I think that's great for them. Kyle Kuzma, hey, man, you balling. I got to give him his credit. He kind of was like forgotten about when he was at the end of the Lakers shit. He kind of was getting scapegoated a lot. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't playing great all the time, don't get me wrong, but I do think he got a little bit more blame than he probably should have got. But now he's showing out. So it's like, I'm happy for him. I still don't think he's like a Jason Tatum type player, which he does think he is. I think he like a step below that, but I do think he could be a really good starting player in this league on a good team. I don't know if he could be like a 1 or 2 option, maybe a second option, but I do think he could be a solid starter on a team that's competing for championship as he continues to develop, as he continues to learn the game and things like that. But those are 3 of the good teams. I mean, and then I touched on this earlier, but before I go, I cannot not talk about Atlanta trading Cam Reddish more. I just briefly spoke on it, but bro, what are y'all doing? Why are you getting rid of your best trade asset when you got John Collins, you got Kevin Huerter, you got Hunter, and you got Reddish? That's a package that could go get you almost any player. Like that's a good with some picks. You got a lot of different things. Now you done traded him for Kevin Knox in the first round pick. Bruh, that is not a good move. Y'all didn't messed up. Now I say y'all still got a pretty good package with Herter, Hunter, Collins, and some picks, but Reddish was really a selling point. Reddish was one of the hotter trade value pieces out there. You cannot just be giving it up just because you just feel like, oh, we gotta hurry up and move. We gotta hurry up and move. Bro, if anything, bro, like make more calls first. I just don't understand why teams settle for shit. Like a Kevin Knox in a first round pick that was not going anywhere. That was a trade that even if you want to get him going by February 10th, that's a trade you make on February 10th, not in January. And it's like, oh, we just gonna see. No, bro, we keeping Reddish. We making calls to the last minute, and we know we got the Knicks with Kevin Knox in the first round pick over here. Bet picks Kevin Knox. Then nobody else want Kevin Knox, so that trade wasn't going nowhere. I just feel like teams get hasty and they jump the gun. And I know people saying, oh, it might be some stuff in the locker room with Cam Reddish. I haven't heard too much about that, so I don't want to just start speculating. But even if it is, bro, these is grown men. 3-4 weeks, he could have made it work for 3 more weeks until we could have found maybe a better offer. If not, get that off. But teams, I don't know. To me, I just feel like people make their job harder than they got to be. And these teams just is so quick to try to get rid of somebody when you could just kind of see and let it play out and see what unfold around the league. Because it's always people unhappy. It's always other players coming available. And why not wait and see what's going on with that? You know what I'm saying? That's my take. And hey, this is Dead Spot Podcast. Thanks for tuning in. If you got this far, I appreciate it. Like, subscribe on YouTube, man. Come talk to me on Twitter. Come talk to me on Instagram and let me know what your opinions is on all my takes. Hey, man, I'm just here giving my opinion. Much love, everybody. We out.